At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can have a little extra to share the love. No fees equals more puppy love. Amplify.
Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. Today, we are talking to someone who I am so proud to call my friend, Vivianne Pearson. I cannot wait to get started.
Hey, beautiful people. It's your girl, Vivianne Pearson. I am here in Austin, Texas, and I like to call myself a disruptor. Right? Disruptor and amplifying individuals' voices. I'm a philanthropist at heart. For those who know me in the real estate world, I'm a real estate moxie. I serve as both a realtor and also a lender. So again, I'm here to help and serve in any way that I can. Being a part of the Women of Austin podcast today is, I'm going to use the word refreshing. And the reason why I say that is because it's beautiful. The relationship and the connection that I've made with Mindy and the women of Austin, whether that's networking, whether we're collaborating or brainstorming, it's been enlightening and also refreshing to know that women can truly just move mountains. And when we amplify our voices together and collaborate, it's a beautiful thing. So within that, I say it's beautiful to, one, come together. We're stronger and we're more powerful. And so to be on here, it's refreshing and enlightening and encouraging. That change is just continuously evolving. So again, Mindy, thank you for this opportunity and for allowing me to be on your platform. It's beautiful.
Vivi, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Thank you for having me.
I really was excited all night. I actually couldn't really sleep well because I was so excited because there's so much that I wanted to talk to you about and share with people who don't know you or what you're doing, or the people who do know you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So just give them a chance to know more about you and Broken into Purpose and all the exciting things that you have coming up.
Well, thank you, one, for creating this platform to allow women of Austin to, one, talk about their desires, their ambitions, and most importantly, amplifying their voices, because you're giving us a platform to really tell our truth and give us the courage to actually walk that out once we step out of here. So thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah. That means the world to me. One thing that I really love about you and why I was really, really, really looking forward to this is because we met. So the first time that I ever saw you, you were on stage accepting an award for your friend.
Yes.
And it was just the most beautiful, moving speech. And I was like, wow, who is that? And then when I got to finally meet you in person, I felt seen and heard, and I was just a stranger to you, and I just felt so special.
Because you are.
Thank you.
Because you are. Let's preference that.
Well, it's not every day that you meet somebody who's like you, and then we got on a phone call, and I felt like when we hung up, I felt like we'd been friends forever. Like we really just got vulnerable and got to know each other. And I just think that is so important. And part of your work and part of my work is that we encourage people to share their stories, and we are stronger together.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you for doing that and showing me how to do it. I really admire you and look up to your work. And I want to hear your story. I want to share it and yeah, just get into it.
Yeah, the biggest thing I want to preference off of everything that you said is I believe in divine connections, right? And so our encounter, whether it's that time you saw me on stage or when we had our one-on-one, that was just, again, a divine connection that's blossoming into something even more beautiful. Right. And so thank you for, one, taking the time to stop me, because I remember that night I had a lot of people, approaching me and wanting to talk.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful thing when you can just pause. Right. be still. And I think we've had several conversations about that.
Oh, yeah.
And in that stillness, acknowledge your surroundings, right? Being present, to be able to say, I see you, I hear you. And if you're going through a journey, whatever that case is, I stand alongside you. So I think that's the beauty of just being obedient. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So you have broken into purpose.
It's my baby.
Yes, it's your baby. So I have notes of all the exciting things that you have going on with Broken Into Purpose. But you and I know them, so I probably don't even need this.
No, not at all.
So why don't you tell us how and why you started Broken Into Purpose?
Broken Into Purpose is truly me. If I can sum it up, right? Throughout my life experiences, my journey, I've been broken in different areas, shattered in some. But the beautiful thing about that is through my journey, I had, whether it's tribe of women, family, the right tools and resources, therapy, alternative therapy, that has helped mold me into the version that people get to experience today. Vivianne Pearson that people get today now required me to go through those brokenness. I had to have those experiences so that I could, one, evolve and simultaneously propel into my purpose. And so I think, when I gave birth, is what I like to say. I gave birth to Broken Into Purpose. It required me to go through all those seasons, right? The conception, the vision, right?
Oh.
Yeah, the vision is what I call the conception. And I always say, conceive it, believe it, achieve it. And the conceiving part, I had to go through something for me to be still and have the awareness that, am I going to dwell in it? Or am I going to allow those brokenness to be a part of my breakthrough and propel me to where I'm destined to be? I always say, I'm not defined by my experiences. In fact, they only shed light to my calling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the essence, that's truly the heartbeat of Broken Into Purpose, was my experience in life. And I think again, exposing to the audience, I'm pretty transparent, right? Because I believe in vulnerability. That's where our power comes in.
Yeah.
And so being an MST victor, and I don't say victim, right? I'm victorious in that because I didn't allow it to have the power, which it did have at one point, because I was suicidal, right? Military sexual trauma is something that I call a silent killer. We experience so many things that we try to be so hua, and I'm Army. And so we try to be so strong that we're weak.
Wait. Say that again.
I say we experience things, we try to be so strong that we're weak. Right?
Yeah. Well, I never heard that or thought about that, but yeah.
And that's when the frail, the toxicity, the fragments and the pollutions, that's what I like to call distractions of life.
Yeah.
They have that stronghold on us. And it paralyzes us. And so when one has the ability to have the awareness and turn that monitor on, but don't just make a decision not to reside there. And you know me, my biggest thing is it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
But don't make it home. Don't make it home. Don't make residency there. Because that's when we get stuck. That's when, one, I always like to say, isolation, all the things that come when we're going through those seasons, we tend to isolate ourselves and et cetera. But I always say isolation is the devil's playground. Because if he can tap into your mind, I always say it's a wrap after that. Because it's a cycle. We become comfortable. We become repetitive in our thought process. At one point, it truly did have that stronghold on me because I was comfortable committing suicide.
Oh.
I was comfortable, taking my life.
Wow.
And I thank God for my angel, which, is my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She was 8 months at the time?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
She was a baby. Back seat. And if it wasn't, I was in such a trance and very comfortable. And I always tell people, when I hear stories, and it is Mental Health Month, so I do want to preference that, don't take light of it.
Yeah.
Mental health is something that is essential for us, especially in today's society.
Yeah.
And so when I was in my trance, when I was just so fixated on that, I know that it had its hold on me. Mm-hmm. I was comfortable. I played it out multiple times. And that's why I always tell people, I have a sweet spot for people that experience suicide, or families who've experienced it, friends who've experienced it. It's because it's not something that's overnight. We've played it out. We've thought about it.
Wow.
It's not I'm going to do it today.
Yeah.
Again, that power, right? That mindset, that playground. But the biggest thing, and I'm grateful for, was that little angel in that back seat that had that whimper that woke me up out of my trance. And I'll never forget just veering on Mopac in that median.
Oh my gosh.
And just staying there and feeling my heart and my... And it was like, oh my God, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And that's when I knew I needed help. And that's when I knew it was bigger than me.
Oh, yeah.
She saved my life. But here's the deal. If I stayed in that space, I could have taken an innocent, beautiful, strong, talented, courageous, oh my goodness, young lady before her time, right? But from there, I tapped into something bigger and greater than me. And I went through the whole cycle of therapy and, medication and all that stuff. And I am prior military. And so I can't say the systems are the greatest, right? I had to advocate for myself. And even in that advocacy, at one point, I realized that I was getting a Band-Aid. All the medication in the world, I wasn't dealing with the issue. And so within that brokenness, I'll never forget when I sat down in Dr. Wellington's office. She's actually the vice president of Broken Into Purpose. And we created a beautiful relationship outside of my therapy. I remember just sitting in her office. I was completely frail, done. Mm-hmm. And she just looked at me. I didn't have to say anything. She said, I won't let you give up on yourself. And I remember just sobbing. Because I didn't have it in me to tell the story over and over and over again. And that's why I think society kind of veers away from therapy, right? It's almost like they see that in a light of an interrogation or having to repeat that thing over again when they're just trying to break through it.
Yeah.
And so my brokenness, again, has propelled me into everything that I'm doing. And that truly is broken into purpose. I didn't let those things define me, but I tapped into them. How can I grow from this? And I've realized that they've become my monument, my pillars.
Wow.
Every experience, whether it was MST, whether it was suicide, whether it's divorce, I always say divorce but not defined, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from my identity. In fact, those things shed light on who I truly am. I had to learn how to incorporate those things to who I'm becoming. And so that's truly the heartbeat, the essence, the walk, the pride that I have behind Broken Into Purpose, because it truly gives people permission to be.
Yeah.
Just be. Because this facade, this I got it all together when I really don't, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's pretty exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in the business of disrupting that. I'm in the business of unveiling the mask of I got it all together. And here's the deal. It's okay not to be okay. But just don't stay there.
Yeah.
Link arms with the people that are going to adjust your crown instead of pulling it down. Connect with people. Use your voice. Tell your story with hopes that it'll inspire someone else to keep pushing. Take the next step. That it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you practice what you preach. I emailed you and called you, and when I was having a hard time, and you spent an hour with me on the phone after you had just been through some things. And I mean, it didn't even, it was just so beautiful and amazing. And you really made a big difference. And I want to thank you for that. And just, it's amazing.
I got you, girl.
Yes. Yes, you do. You definitely practice what you preach. Absolutely. And the way that you, that you are and present yourself, and it's just, I knew that I could go to you, and we're new friends.
Yeah.
But I just knew, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. And hey girl, you need anything, I got you too.
I appreciate it.
The Sky Lounge on Lady Bird is a brand new private rooftop venue in downtown Austin. They have full views of the Austin City skyline, Lady Bird Lake, Auditorium Shores, and the gorgeous West Rolling Hills. The Sky Lounge is perfect for any wedding events, corporate events, and private events. You can book an event with them today on their Instagram at Sky Lounge on Lady Bird. Women of Austin would like to thank our community sponsors. Joel Richardson and Team, your Austin mortgage lender. Visit myfinanceteam.com. Dave's Ultimate Automotive. Visit davesultimateautomotive.com and become a part of the Dave's family today. Hotworks Austin Lakeline. More workout, less time. At Anderson Mill Road and FM 620. At Hotworks Austin Lakeline. Elite Marquee and Events. LED marquees, rentals, and event planning. At Elite Marquee Austin. Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm the founder of Women of Austin. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're filming at Kiki Price, a new shoe store in downtown Austin. They're located at North Lamar and West 12th Street. Kiki Price Shoes is a female-owned business run by Kiki, who lives in the Bay Area, and Lucy, who lives right here in Austin. The pair have been friends for over 30 years, and they've always wanted to create a shoe that was comfortable but didn't sacrifice style. So they partnered with Dr. Rick J., who is an orthopedic surgeon, to create custom insoles that are in every single shoe, making the shoes actually comfortable to walk and stand in all day. They've got a great deal for all Women of Austin podcast viewers and listeners, so check that out in the description of the show.
And that's what we need. We need to create spaces. I call them safe spaces, right? Mm-hmm. That people, if they're going through something, that they can feel comfortable enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Just as I am, broken, hurt, embarrassed, I can just call you and just be like, girl, you got a minute? And I'm very mindful when someone says, how are you doing? That's a loaded question. So I always tell people, be careful in saying that and truly have good intentions behind that.
Yes.
Because it is a loaded question. Because you have the power to save someone's life if you truly are really intentional. It's not that, how you doing, and keep walking.
Yeah.
How you doing, and like change the subject in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Because within that, you can save someone. And I always say, within our tongues, right? The power of life and death. And so be mindful and intentional behind that, because you can sow seeds into someone's life and you can potentially even save their lives in that moment. Yeah. So be ready to hear what's on the opposite side of that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And make sure you have the time to. And that's why I always say it's a loaded question. And so for me, I'm thankful that I was in a space to receive that call when you needed me, and being able to be obedient in that, and also listening, because sometimes we don't need someone telling us. We just need an ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I like that. How are you doing? Because that's something that if you're listening or watching, you can do that's really easy, that can make a big difference. And just that mindset shift.
Oh, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Yes, let's start a how are you doing movement. Like, not the Wendy Williams, how you doing?
No, just a simple, how are you doing? But sincerely, right?
Yeah.
Because we're in a society that's so robust, that's so on the go, and so instant gratification,
Yeah.
that we're forgetting to truly look up, smell the roses, and value what's right in front of us, because life is short.
Yeah.
And it's too short to be fake.
It's too short to be fake.
It's too short. Fake.
Yes, I love that quote.
Because that's what's happening now. Everyone's so superficial.
Yeah.
We're not deep. We're not having authentic, raw, true conversations of the heart. And that's one of the things that I've been extremely passionate about imposing, right?
Yeah.
Or imprinting in our society, because it's necessary.
Well, that leads me to, I wanted to ask you about your podcast.
Yeah.
So tell me more about it and how it's going and what your plans are for it.
Yeah, the
question.
Yeah, the Sound Table podcast, man. I had that vision for the Sound Table podcast probably about 2 years ago. I knew the power of sound. I knew the power of creating a space to tell stories, to also, one, share minds.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many opportunities to get on stage and talk to crowds of women, men, and more recently impacting the youth community. And for me, I think the Sound Table was a space where I can amplify those voices, specifically the voices of the voiceless, right?
Yeah.
And so within that, I was obedient to that calling. I tried to push it away for so many years. I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Yeah.
But you make time for your treasures, right? Things that are most valuable to you. And I know that that was something that I was so passionate about just in my daily walk. And I know the power of podcasts in the streaming world now, that I can touch people, whether it's here locally, in a different state, or across the nation. And so when we birthed the Sound Table podcast this spring, it was one of the things that I was extremely excited about. It's beautiful. You know, we have different guests that, whether they tell their testimonies, or we have experts that's in the field that can help provide tools. Our biggest thing as well is through alternative therapy within our programs and outreaches that we do in the community. And that can serve anywhere from sound table, voice therapy, fire therapy. And we just get people immersed in that and knowing that, hey, we're creating that safe space.
Yeah.
That we see you, we hear you, and we stand alongside you, but we also want to hear you loud.
Yeah.
Right? And so with unity, we're able to amplify those voices. And that's why linking arm with, Women of Austin, linking arm with, Leverage Soul, which is one of our amazing partners that we do sound bath therapies with, linking arm with Austin Businesswoman.
Yes.
I mean, it's just... It's been amazing. And even Music Hill Ranch, who's our presenting sponsor for our amazing retreat that's going to be in the fall, it's just like, that's the power, right? When all these voices come together and we make a powerful sound for philanthropy or pushing a cause forward, that's where the beauty is. And that's what we need to see. That's what society needs to see. That's what our community needs to see. But even more so our country, the legacy that we're leaving behind, which is our children, they need to see the power of community and how we can truly make noise, but a positive noise that's impacting the heart, that's impacting the mind, and shifting it to let them know that you can and you will. But you have to know the power within you, tapping into that identity.
So beautiful. Yeah. Well, I will definitely put the links to your podcast and the retreat that you mentioned and your Lemonade Gala coming up. We are out of time. I can't believe it went so fast.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You have to come back because I'm not done.
I welcome it.
So we'll get you back on the schedule because there's so much more. Yes, so coming up is your retreat and the Lemonade Gala.
Yes.
And like I said, I'll put links to that in the description. And I just can't thank you enough for your time today and for being so open and vulnerable and inspiring.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you for creating this platform for us to connect, collaborate, and truly impact our community in the future ahead.
Yes,
I appreciate you, beautiful.
Appreciate you, girl. If you want to know more about Broken Into Purpose, visit brokenintopurpose.org or be sure to check out the links in the description of this video. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast. Light it up, light it up.